Right guys, we have an update regarding the October event, and that's a fact that actually might not be an event, and instead we could see press releases for the October announcements. So much like I was suggesting in a previous video, Gurman's now told us that yes, there is a possibility we see no event, and instead we see a series of press releases for the October announcements. Now I believe the last time we saw a press release was for AirPods Max in 2020, so it's been a while, but of course, I actually think this could be the case. Now, why do I think this? Well, to be honest, none of the releases we've heard about are really major upgrades. They're mostly chip refreshes. And yeah, Gurman does confirm the three products we should see in the October timeframe are the M2 iPads, the MacBook Pro with the M2 Pro Max, and also new Mac Minis. And well, if we go through those products, you will start to realize how minor the refreshes are going to be with these products. I mean, let's begin with the iPad Pro. This was supposed to get MagSafe reverse charging larger batteries, but now that's really up in the air because we do have case listings for these iPads and they are reverse compatible with the 2021 models. And so without the chassis getting any thicker, I doubt we're going to get a bigger battery and MagSafe. And so literally this is going to be a simple chip refresh, the same exact iPads, but with an M2 chip that of course Apple's already showed off. And one could argue the chip upgrade's actually kinda pointless when the software experience is still so restricted with the iPads. And so yes, why announce this on stage? I mean heck, even the 11-inch is not getting mini LEDs, so yeah, these are really going to be the same iPads, but with new chips. And the same applies to the MacBooks, since we had a massive refresh last year, so of course, Apple's simply upgrading the chips, and while some of us were expecting these chips to adopt a 3 or 4nm process, that might not be the case, and these chips might retain the 5nm process, hence not getting many performance upgrades. Now the Mac Minis could have actually been a major refresh if we were going to get a redesign like John Prosser showed us, but that's no longer the case according to Mark Gurman. These are going to look identical for the most part, and I guess this makes sense because the Mac Studio that came out this year does incorporate the current Mac Mini design language, but also people do use these in server rooms, and so they do need these Mac Minis to be the exact same dimensions. And so yes, again, like the other products, this is getting a chip refresh, and we should see the M2 and the M2 Pro chips. Now yes, I know what you're thinking, M2 Pro and M2 Max are technically new chips. Does Apple really want to announce that via press release? Well, do remember, like I said, if we do see the 5nm process, then much like the M2 chip, I don't think the upgrades over the M1 counterparts are really going to be major enough to announce on stage. And so without a redesign, there's really no point. Apple should just stick to a press release. And Apple has done this very often in the past, where they update the Intel Macs with new chips via press releases. And so yeah, basically my main point is, there really is not a flagship release. And yes, I'm aware there has been very minor refreshes Apple's announced on stage in the past. For example, the iPhone SE3, the iPad 8, the M1 iPad Air, these were all minor refreshes, but do remember that alongside these releases, there was a flagship release. For example, the iPhone SE3 and the iPad Air 5 were accompanied by the Mac Studio and the display, which of course were major refreshes. And so that's what's missing with these October announcements. There really is nothing major enough to headline this event, and so that's why they should go the press release route. Now yes, I know what you're thinking, what about the Mac Pro? That could be a flagship release, right? Well yes, that is very much a major refresh, but Gurman does confirm in this new report that's not going to be launching till 2023, and this really does not surprise me because, as I've been saying for a while, the whole point we got the Mac Studio was of course to give Apple time to work on the Mac Pro, since these are the highest end consumers, and so they want to offer the best performance and also maybe some form of modularity so that of course these consumers can upgrade their Macs. So yes, while Apple did say the 2-year transition should be over by this year, I personally think we're not getting the Mac Pro in 2022. Now another major release we've heard about that Gurman suspiciously says nothing about is the iPad 10. Now this allegedly could get a redesign, which is a first for the budget iPads, and that could be major enough to headline the event, but Gurman says nothing about it in this report, and so maybe it's been delayed. I'm not too sure myself, and I'm hoping Gurman does clarify regarding its release. Oh, by the way, Gurman does actually mention we could see the Apple TV launch with the A14 chip pretty soon, but again, that's not major enough to actually headline at an event, and so that again should be a press release. Now ultimately, do remember Gurman is theorizing this. I don't think he's confirmed this with sources, but he is a very credible source, so I do agree with him on this, and I do think we're going to see press releases. And honestly, I kind of miss the press releases. Apple randomly dropping bombshells during a specific week or time frame is pretty great, and so I do like the idea of press releases happening throughout October. Like, I'll be honest guys, I am getting bored of the virtual format. I want us to either go back to the live format before COVID or give us more press releases. Just spice up the announcements, and I think that would be great. So yes, I'm not annoyed by no event. I'm actually happy about this. Anyways, let's delve into your questions. So regarding the iPad 10 and the iPad Pro, BC239 says, front-facing camera in the middle for landscape is my #1 desire. Close second would be an Apple branded trackpad keyboard for the new base iPads. So your second wish could actually be the case with the iPad 10, we're expecting that with the new design. But as for the first demand, I do think that's not going to happen because yes, it would be great for the camera to be in the middle in landscape, but that's currently where the magnets are for the pencil, so there might not be enough space to put a camera there on the iPad. Also, one could argue center stage does kind of fix the issue that arises with the camera not being in the horizontal position, so of course, Apple might not see a reason to move the camera with the iPad. However, I will say there has been murmurs that maybe we could see dynamic island on the iPad, and it being lower on the device means that you can place the camera and landscape in the island, and the magnets can be above it. Anyways, that's about it guys, but tell me your thoughts regarding this in the comments. Anyways, thank you for watching guys, make sure to like and subscribe for the latest Apple news and rumours. Check out the video above on details regarding the iPhone 15 series, and on that note, see ya peeps.